In today's little video, I'm going to attempt to repair. This is a Scott stereo receiver, a 330 RL receiver. Supposedly there's no output. I have the cover off, and the first thing I always do is I look around inside. If I see anything that's burnt or anything that's missing, for example. Also, I use my nose. Sometimes you can smell the burnt, you can tell the burnt stuff, and I look where the fuse is at, for example. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and hook up the receiver here. Today I'm going to be using my dim bulb tester, and I'll go ahead and try that. Now I've got the receiver plugged into the dim bulb tester, and the dim bulb tester, of course, is plugged into a normal socket. So normal wall sockets, I'm going to go ahead and hit the switch. Of course, I also have a variable isolation transformer. I could use that too. Of course, if the bulb here, if it lights up and stays lit, that means we have a short in the receiver. Then all the voltage will be dropped across the bulb and not across the receiver. So let me go ahead and hit the on switch. Okay, it lit up just for a second, which is actually normal, and stayed out, so we don't have a major short. And also we can see that the dial lamps are lit, which is, I guess, a good sign too. And we can see here, I turned it around, we've got some speaker fuses here, we've got a main fuse. I'd venture to say the main fuse is good because the dial lighting comes on. But if we're lucky, if we're really lucky, I can just, the fuses have blown, or just one of them. Let me go ahead and try to, okay, there's one. I'll go ahead and try to take these out and then take a look at them. So I just checked both of the fuses with an ohm meter, and they're good. If not, the fuses would be open. I took them out here to make sure I had good contact. Of course, you can always do it. You can also check fuses in circuit, but of course the ultimate is, of course, to check them out of circuit. It wasn't really a problem getting them out. So was step one. So unfortunately, the fuses were good. That would have been the easy way out. And I'm going to go ahead and check for any kind of DC voltage at the speaker outputs. We don't want a large DC voltage because I'm going to be hooking up some loudspeakers. Nope. Nope either. Doesn't use a protection relay either, I see. So let me go ahead and get the loudspeakers real quick. So the good news is I have the loudspeakers hooked up, and not both channels are out, but only one. That's a radio right there. So off to my next step. Let me go ahead and take the bottom cover off. So after taking the bottom cover off, lo and behold, there were more fuses, but of course those are good too. Now from listening to the radio, I could tell that one channel was out, but it might be a problem that's just confined to the tuner. I mean, the phono and aux could be okay, so I'm going to do one more lazy person's test here. I have a little phono plug, and all I'm going to do is plug that into the left channel, which is the channel that's out, and touch the center. I'm going to turn the volume down first, and if I get a loud hum, for those of you that started with stereos like in the 70s and 80s, You know, if you used to touch the phono plugs, you used to get a loud hum. So that's what I'm going to do now. Of course, I'm going to turn the volume down. So let me go ahead and get that set up. Okay, now I've got the plug, that little phono plug is plugged into the right channel, which is a good channel. And again, I've got the volume down, and just for contrast, you can see what happens. Nothing. Might have to turn up the volume. Now that can be heard. You don't want to turn the volume too much up. And so that's telling me I'm getting something out from the right channel, the good channel. Now we'll try the left channel for contrast. So now we're checking out the dead channel, the left channel. No, I can't really. I can hear something still coming through from the right, but I can't hear anything from the left. So that definitely proves that the problem is not tuner related. In case you're wondering, this is a cable I made myself. I don't know why I made it. Anyways, I couldn't find the normal phono plugs that I have laying around, say to hook up a tuner to an amplifier. They're here really close by, but I think they're in a box right now. So I'm just using this homemade thing here. Of course, this is a signal, the hot terminal. This is the ground, and this is just a regular RCA phono plug, plugs into the back of the receiver. Now when you do it this lazy person's way like I just did, you got to make sure you got that volume turned down pretty much. You don't want to have it full blast, or else something nasty could happen. So I think right now I got to go ahead and get a schematic or a service manual to continue on. And of course, to use my homemade cable, I just plug it into the phono input one channel at a time, because I only have one of these cables. And of course, the function switch has to be in the phono position. Now I downloaded the block diagram and the schematic. After that, I cleaned the controls, like the volume control, the balance control, the loudness. I sprayed them with cleaner, and I still had the problem though. So I decided, okay, I'm going to use the audio generator and feed in a signal into the aux input. It was 150 millivolts RMS signal at 1000 hertz. And I decided, okay, I'm going to go ahead and go to right after the volume control. And there is a coupling capacitor there, one for each channel. So I hooked up the scope to that. And one channel showed the sine wave, the other not. Of course, the bad channel didn't. So I decided, okay, I'm going to go right to the front of the balanced volume control. Basically, it's one mechanical unit, but electrically separated. So here was a 1000 ohm resistor, and I hooked up the scope to both of these resistors, and there was a steady sine wave going in. So that told me the problem was in between there. So you can see here, I'll show up on the scope what the problem is. Now here you can see what the problem is. Watch when I manipulate the balance control. Yeah. That is the problem, a really dirty pot. So I'm going to go ahead and clean that again, and then see if I can't get this thing fixed. I'm just lucky it wasn't the output transistors or a fuse. A lot of times when one channel's out, it's just the output transistors, but in this case it seemed to be a balance control problem. I hope I can get this cleared up with cleaner. If not, I have to take the whole thing out and take it apart, which is kind of like a headache to do for a lower end unit. So here you go. You see right now I'm manipulating the balance control, and well, it's problematic. So I'll go ahead and spray some more cleaner in there after I shut the power off, work it back and forth, and then see what I get. Also, I might add, I forgot to mention this, right now I'm getting the signal off of the speaker outputs, and I've hooked up an 8 ohm dummy load, and I got my scope probes across the dummy load. So it looks like I still have the same problem. Now I stood the unit on the side. Now I've got the power off, but I'm still feeding in a sine wave. Now watch when I push on the individual solder joints of the balance control, volume control. And there seems to be something going on there. When I press on the one spot here, I seem to be getting the signal completely back. So it's actually these pins right here, and this one doesn't look good at all. I need to get my magnifying glass and get in there close, because for us old timers, we really can't look at stuff on the board without magnifiers. So let me go ahead and get that. So I think I got the problem hopefully figured out. You can see it really clear to here. For some reason I was able to focus really close with my cheap camera, and now the problem is like really obvious. Let me go ahead. You can see here, that whole pin there is moving. So I got to resolder that and redo the other ones here, and hopefully that takes care of the problem. As Shakespeare would say, there's something rotten in the state of Denmark, and hopefully I'm going to be able to take care of this. It's always a good idea to have a little magnifier with a light on it, as some of you old timers I'm sure can agree with this statement. You just can't like see that stuff as well anymore once you, I guess, reach a certain age. So hopefully I can go ahead and get this problem straightened out now. So now I think I finally solved the problem. I'm manipulating now the balance and volume control, and looks like it was that bad, or those rather, bad solder joints, and probably some dirt in the volume balance control potentiometers, since they're pretty exposed. So I guess that's it for now. Thanks for your patience.